Hello everyone, and welcome to my CSU channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Savannah Chrisley's honest quotes about getting married, why she is scared to walk down the aisle. The topic of marriage was at the forefront of the November 25th, 2025 episode of her Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley podcast, as Savannah, 28, was joined by her dad, Todd Chrisley, who only wanted to know one thing: when will she walk down the aisle? Do you have a desire to get married at some point? Todd, 56, asked his daughter. She answered, yeah, eventually. Todd didn't seem exactly pleased with that answer and joked back, do you think it will be before I draw Social Security? Savannah, who was engaged to ex-Nick Curdiles before the pair broke up in 2020 and contemplated marrying ex-Robert Shiver before they split in 2025, doesn't seem to be in a big rush to get wed. Keep scrolling to read what she has said about marriage. In a June 2023 episode of her Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley podcast, Savannah admitted she was scared of the idea of getting married. It's so hard because in the South, too, you experience this viewpoint like, you should be married. You should have kids, Savannah explained. But I say the thought of marriage scares me more than kids. She continued, I don't know if it's maybe, and this is gonna sound so bad, but I think maybe because kids you're in control of, So if I were to have a kid, it's my responsibility to take care of them and make sure they get from point A to point B. But with marriage, it's kind of like you're giving over a part of yourself to someone, she also said. So they have the ability to hurt you. She didn't want to get married while her parents were in prison. The fact that both of her parents were in prison at the time also weighed on Savannah's thoughts about marriage. In the same podcast, she explained, in my mind, I can't move on with my life. Until I know that they're going to be there, I can't get married. I can't have a kid. But I know they're going to eventually one day get to be a part of it. Savannah and ex-Robert Shiver ended their relationship for good in March 2025, but not until the pair had contemplated getting married. We've definitely talked about it. We both know, hey, this is what we want out of life. But he's got some stuff to work through on his side of things before that can ever happen, she told People in March 2025 of the possibility. Savannah thought she wanted a big wedding. I've always said, I want this huge wedding, Savannah told People in the same March interview. I want all these things. When in reality, I feel like when you're in the right situation, you're in the right relationship, you don't need all these crazy, outward, extravagant things to prove your love for someone. Back in 2020, Savannah shared a lengthy post about the meaning of happiness after she and former fiancé Nick Curdiles split. The pair got engaged in 2018. Per The Sun, the quote read, "You're going to realize it one day, that happiness was never about your job or your degree or being in a relationship. Happiness was never about following in the footsteps of all of those who came before you. It was never about being like the others." The post continued, "One day, you're going to see it, that happiness was always about the discovery, the hope, the listening to your heart, and following it wherever it chose to go. Happiness was always about being kinder to yourself. It was always about embracing the person you were becoming," the quote continued. "One day, you will understand that happiness was always about learning how to live with yourself, that your happiness was never in the hands of others. It was always about you. It was always about you." Savannah Chrisley had never been the girl who fantasized about tulle veils and overflowing bouquets. While other kids her age scribbled wedding dresses in glitter pens and dreamed of matching monogram towels, Savannah imagined something different: success, independence, and a future that didn't require anybody else to define her worth. But life had a funny way of circling back to the very things you swore you'd never care about, and now, at 20-something, she found herself asked the one question she never felt ready to answer. So, when are you getting married? It felt like it followed her everywhere, on podcasts and interviews from fans online, even whispered by her own family with that teasing blend of curiosity and expectation. And Savannah, who had mastered the art of public poise, finally reached the point where she couldn't pretend anymore. "I'm scared," she confessed recently. Like, genuinely scared to walk down the aisle. Her honesty surprised people. After all, Savannah Chrisley was known for confidence. She was the girl who rebuilt her life when everything collapsed, the daughter who stepped up for her younger siblings when her parents went to prison, the businesswoman who turned heartbreak into hustle, and the influencer who taught millions to be bold even on the days they felt broken. Marriage shouldn't have intimidated her. But Savannah knew better than anyone. Marriage wasn't just about saying yes to someone. It was about saying yes to an entire future, one that demanded vulnerability she wasn't sure she could give. The realization hit her one quiet night in Nashville. The kids were finally asleep, the house humming with that rare calm she didn't get often. On the kitchen table sat a wedding magazine someone had gifted her as a joke, except it didn't feel very funny when she opened it. Perfect couples stared back at her from glossy pages, smiling without worry, promising forever without flinching. Savannah closed the magazine and pushed it away. In the stillness of her kitchen, she whispered aloud a truth she'd kept tucked far away. What if I'm not built for forever? It wasn't commitment itself that scared her. She had always been loyal, always willing to fight for relationships that mattered. But she had also lived through the kind of family storm that rearranged a person's definition of love. Watching her parents be torn apart publicly, watching their marriage dissected, judged, and debated across headlines, those wounds left shadows. "I've seen what marriage looks like under pressure," she said in a recent interview. "And I've seen how quickly everything can fall apart." Her biggest fear wasn't being with the wrong person. It was becoming someone who lost herself trying to make it work. The world expected Savannah to be fearless. Yet she wasn't ashamed to admit that love came with its own kind of trauma. "I've been left. I've been lied to. I've been cheated on," she revealed. "And every time I think I'm ready, something old tries to convince me I'm not." There had been relationships that seemed promising, moments where she had almost imagined a ring on her finger. But then something would crack. Someone would disappoint. Someone would reveal a truth they'd been hiding. She had watched love crumble enough times to know that butterflies weren't guarantees. She needed more than romance. She needed reliability, honesty, safety. "People say marriage is about trust," she explained. "But what happens when trust is the one thing you've had to rebuild over and over again?" She wanted to believe in forever. She did. But her heart had learned caution too well.